many points where religion and science don't agree, and one point that's brought up time and time again is the dispute between the origin of man. This argument is typically presented as the creationism versus evolution argument. To better understand the speech, you should first know about what the two different sides are. Andrew Lack from the Claremont Graduate University defines evolution as a theory that the plant's been around for billions of years and that the species on it have originated by the process of natural selection. He also goes on to describe creationism as a theory that the world's approximately 6,000 years old and all the life created in that time span was created in a time span of 6 days by a supernatural figure. But my persuasive argument today is that creationism should not be taught in public schools in America. To better understand why this concept should not be taught in public schools, you first need to understand the history behind it. The creationism evolution debate has been going on for years now, but according to Rob Boston, the most notable case was the 1987 Supreme Court case, Edwards versus Aguillard, where the state of Louisiana wanted to allow teachers to teach creationism instead of evolution. The case was lost, but later in 2008, a legislature was passed called the Louisiana Science Education Act, and this act allowed teachers to provide supplemental material on subjects like evolution, human cloning, and global warming. Professor Barbara Forrest at the Southeast Louisiana University explained in an interview with Rob Boston that the Education Act was a loophole for teachers to violate the Constitution and teach creationism. Citizens that didn't agree with the teachings of creationism spoke out against the act. And one student was quoted saying, "Creationism is not a science, and teaching it as a science in science classes puts Louisiana and American kids at a disadvantage compared to other kids around the world." The act was later revoked after all the protests against it. Teaching creationism does put American students at a disadvantage. Many European countries reject creationism and teach only evolution, even though their constitutions don't call for a separation of church and state. Even with many bills rejected, creationists are still pushing for a balanced curriculum of evolution and creationism in schools. In 2001, Florida, Texas, Kentucky, Oklahoma, and New Mexico all proposed legislature to enable equal teaching between evolution and creationism. They were all deemed unconstitutional and rejected. But supporters of these bills continuously protest the rejections and revise new bills to be sent in as a replacement. Back in February 2012, according to the Missouri House of Representatives website, a bill entered the House requesting that creationism be taught in science courses throughout public schools in Missouri. Like similar bills proposed in the past, it was rejected. Now we get to the core of the speech. Why shouldn't creationism be taught in public schools? While it's true that the American Constitution allows for freedom of religion, it also calls for separation of church and state. Creationism is a part of Christianity, and it takes its beliefs from the Christian Bible. Teaching of this in a public school discriminates against the other religions that are also represented in those schools. Another reason why creationism should not be taught in public schools is that, as a science course, is that it does not have factual evidence to support it. Typical arguments from a creationist viewpoint are flawed because most of them are arguments consisting of just stating how evolution isn't real, how it doesn't exist, how there's no proof behind it. According to Randy Moore of the University of Minnesota, this is a flawed argument because evolution has more solid evidence that has been provided than creationism has. Now, Walt Brown, an outspoken creationist, wrote a journal entitled "In the Beginning, Compelling Evidence for Creation and the Flood," where he gives evidence to support creationism. One argument he gave was how evolution can't be possible because the human brain is so complex that it could not have developed from a lesser species, meaning that we must have been created in the image of a superior being. This is a typical argument that is used, and there's been no real actual proof to prove this idea. In the end, even though both evolution and creationism are both theories, creationism has no place in a public school setting. Teaching religion in a public school setting is in direct violation of the Constitution. You can help stop this from being taught by becoming more informed on the matter and voting against laws that encourage creationism to be taught. Thank you.